Matthew 24. It's on page 25 in those little Bibles in the New Testament. Because it talks about the earthquakes and the pestilence and the famine and those things basically that we've covered last week. And actually what's being discussed here is consciousness. It's talking about you, it's talking about your mind, and it's talking about those things that must happen if you're to be set free from the traditional concepts that have steered you more or less into the difficulties you've experienced in your life, so that you're free to experience life as it is supposed to be experienced. There is no reason why you should not know why you exist. I mean, you know, there's a funny thing. If you look around this room, just do it with me, everything you'll see in this room, you'll know what its purpose is. Now look at the person next to you. I mean, even down to a screw in this chair, you'll know what it's for. But the the person sitting here, Father Donahue. People don't know what they're for. You don't know what you're here for. You don't know what you're doing. You're supposed to raise children or what for? Go to work for what? Everybody that's ever done this are in cemeteries, and whoever knows they even got here. So what's your purpose? You should know what your purpose in life is. You should know why there's a planet. You should know why there's a universe. Why does it all happen? What's it all for? And the unfortunate part is most people have no idea. And in order for you to know and for you to understand, things are going to happen to you that are going to cause you to break from the traditional establishment that you've been plugged into all of your life. And that's scary for a lot of people. And that's what Matthew 24 is about. Earthquakes and famines. Do you notice that, for instance, Christian television is very quiet about the volcanoes in the Philippines and the volcanoes in Japan? Because the Bible doesn't say anything about volcanoes. Do you know if it said something about volcanoes, they would have all kinds of books. They would have million sellers out. And these guys would be on, here it is, just like Jesus said, just here's the volcano. But he didn't mention volcanoes. He could have. He mentioned earthquakes because earthquakes are the shaking down of the way you think. Earthquakes are the shaking down of the old consciousness which destroy the old religious institutions which have kept you screwed up and totally out of touch with life. And now they're gone, and now you're free to raise yourself into a temple, as Jesus says, that is not built with human hands. So let's take a look at Matthew 24 and go on with this in verse 9 and see what he's talking about. Okay, Matthew 24, verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. Who will deliver you up to be afflicted? Your thoughts will deliver you up to be afflicted. Your parents' thoughts, your friends' thoughts, your teachers' thoughts, the system's thoughts, politicians' thoughts, all kinds of things that you will suddenly find out that you are no longer in tune with. These things bother you. The way somebody talks to you, the ideals that they set up for you, these things bother you. I was on my brother last night, you know, and we always have a chance, we always have an opportunity to pass the buck. He's one of these guys that has this beautiful VCR in his house. He's had a VCR there for 3 years, never knew how to work the thing. Never knew how to work it, never knew how to say, he never knew. And so he called me and said, I can never get this thing to work. And he said, I put a tape on, and he said, I like Frank Sinatra, I got this Frank Sinatra tape, I put the tape on, it's all static. I said, well, turn the tracking. He said, what? Turn the tracking. What's that? I says, there's a knob on the front of your thing. He says, there's no knob here. I says, there's a little door on the front of your thing. Pull the door down. There's a knob that says track. Oh, he pulls the door. Yeah, I see it. I says, turn it. Yeah, I can see the picture. Yeah, it's clear. He says, you mean that's all that was wrong with it? I said, there was nothing wrong with it. There was something wrong with you. You didn't know what you had. And that's basically the same thing that afflicts each one of us. Nobody in the religious establishments have told you, turn the tracking. Turn the tracking. There's a knob within you which is called meditation. Turn it and the picture will get very clear. Otherwise, you're going to go on for the rest of your life looking at static because you don't know what you've got. You up, see. The opinions of others. You know, oh, you've left the faith. The opinions of others that you're not doing the right thing. That's frightening, you know, because your whole life, do you know what your whole life is based on? The opinions of other people. Everything that you've ever done in your life is based on the opinions of other people. It starts when you're a little kid. And right as soon as you get done and learn how to cry, you become a politician. Because you've got to change that person's opinion. That as you're looking through the bars of your little crib, you all of a sudden learned that if you want to get something, you squawk until you get it. You become a politician. And that goes on right up until now. And so we're all politicians, and we interact with one another, and we all have opinions, what she should be like, what her life should be. I want you, you know what did your father and mother, we want you to grow up to be like this. Never asked you what you wanted to grow up and be like. I have a couple in my office that they wanted their son to go to college. And he came and told me, he said, I want to be a disc jockey. I don't want to. You've got to go. Then he went. Then he sent him to college. And he disappeared. He stayed for about 6 weeks and left. Because he didn't want to. And he didn't care. And all of our lives are put around what somebody else wants. Your father wants you to be able to have a psychiatrist just like he does. And you're going to have a good job in order to afford that, you see. You've got to grow up to be just as, and then they'll go to all of these psychiatrists, see, to find out what's wrong with them. And the psychiatrist brings them down to a normal level of insanity. Totally barbaric. The system is barbaric, but we all figure it's normal. Don't go to that church down there because, oh my goodness gracious, they meditate. But, you know, go across, if you're over at the Fork and River House getting smashed, well, he's an all-American boy. Any American boy wanted to do that. You know, that's okay. And that's the way it is. It's exactly the way it is. No, you're in a cult. See, religion will warn you that you're getting into something, but Jesus Christ is saying that what he's telling you, these things are going to have to happen inside of you if you're going to experience the second coming. If you're going to experience the second coming, then you've got to leave everything that you have experienced in your life. You are missing the second coming of Christ because the second coming of Christ does not happen outside, it happens inside. Just where Jesus said it happened. John 14:20, at that time you will know, I am in the Father, you in me, and I in you. And if you are not in you, you are missing the second coming of Christ. And you'll miss the second coming in the same way people missed the first coming. They never knew he was there. Never knew he was there. You know how I know they never knew he was there? Because there's not a word about him outside of the Bible. What's that in a history book? Show me a history book. Where does it say he was there? Doesn't it?